When was the last time you thought about your vision? Seriously, for the majority of us, we probably take our vision for granted until we start having problems. Degradation of our vision can be so slight that it might take a long time to recognize that there is an issue, and it's such a common symptom of age that we probably rarely even think that the cause is anything other than that, less some form of illness or trauma. But take a moment to think about how delicate and sensitive your eyes are. Small, fluid-filled sacs under about 20 millimeters of mercury of pressure, relatively loosely set in the skull, facing nearly every new condition or obstacle you encounter. Now, they've evolved some fairly good protections in the form of strong and sturdy eye sockets to protect them from blunt trauma, eyebrow ridges and hairs to send liquids around the eye, eyelids and lashes to keep a lot of fine particulates from damaging the lenses, and tears to wash out foreign matter quickly. We've even developed instinctive reactions to turn away from bright lights and harsh winds. All of these protections are reactions to natural hazards in the environment, but we started removing ourselves from our natural habitat as soon as we figured out how. All things being equal, this would be great news for our eyes and eye health in general. But in the place of what we're avoiding, we've installed new ways to damage our eyesight. For instance, have you ever had an MRI? There are a ton of questions that they ask to ensure that the machine doesn't cause any damage to you, mostly about your relationship with metals. But one question that will send you for a head x-ray is, have your eyes ever been exposed to metal fragments? Now, I won't go into the particulars as to why they ask that question, but answer that question for yourself. I'm sure you could probably remember a time when someone somewhere was using an angle grinder or a hand file and your eyes were unprotected if you haven't done those things yourself. This is what I mean when I talk about all the new ways we've invented to damage our eyes. As a responder to counted but countless calls for medical assistance of varying severity and situation, I've always taken special care with injuries and trauma to, around, and about the eyes. But oddly, I've had to use a lot of words to convince those with eye injuries, contamination, or other issues to seek follow-up medical care, and even more words to explain why requirements for eye protection of various types is so important. Few could offer cogent arguments against eye protection, but it's still one of the most often willfully skirted safety requirements I've encountered. I've watched as people timidly slide their glasses on as a manager or safety professional walks by and slap them off immediately once they're out of view. I would imagine the internal thought is something like, what are the chances something's going to go directly into my tiny eyeball? We'll start there with a few stories. The first is during my time in the hospitality industry. It was a common practice for housekeeping staff to store their spray chemicals on the handles of their room carts while cleaning rooms. One day, an experienced housekeeper was pushing their cart down the hall and hit a wall, causing the spray bottle with a very acidic tile cleaner to discharge across the cart directly into their eyes. The next story is of a worker who was attempting to secure two pieces of plastic with a type of superglue while assembling part of a machine. When the pieces snapped together, excess glue shot out from between each piece directly into their left eye. Lastly, a maintenance worker was performing routine checks on a production line that consisted of low-pressure chemical dispensing equipment when a hose clamp failed. Portions of the hose clamp struck their eye socket directly above their right eye. Eye protection was only required in the last of these three examples, but was not being worn. In the first example, the chemical was quickly phased out for something much safer, and the second resulted in eye protection requirements being initiated. These are just three of the issues that I have directly dealt with, and a tiny fraction of the nearly 20,000 annual severe eye injuries reported in the US alone. A side note, due to the way that OSHA and the BLS tabulate eye injuries in the United States, the data focusing more on the loss of vision or the physical loss of an eye, it can be difficult to truly assess in the data how many incidents involve more minor or cumulative injuries to the eye or degradation of vision over time. I say that to say this. Cumulative damage to the eye can be just as destructive to the overall health of the eye as episodes of trauma. I'm certainly no optician, but it doesn't take a massively wrinkled brain to work out that if you have 10 corneal abrasions over 20 years of metalworking, that it's fairly likely that you're going to start having some vision issues, all other things being equal, of course. The same might go for individuals exposed to UVB light sources over a career curing adhesives or paints, or those that stare intently at a computer monitor all day, every day. Another side note here to state the obvious that medical checkups are paramount towards health in general, eye health being no different. So, what do we do to protect our vision for the long term at work? Well, I already mentioned one of the most common forms of eye protection earlier in this video, protective eyewear. This generally takes the form of commonly required safety glasses that are usually intended to protect the eyes from impact damage from debris, but that also provide protection against heat, nuisance dust, radiation, and liquid or chemical splashes under the ANSII Z87.1 or Z87.1 Plus standards. If you're interested in knowing more about the testing process to achieve compliance with this standard, check out the link in the description. Even though I'm not going to go into the minutiae of the standards here, I'll make this point because I've had to make it many times. Not all glasses are safety glasses. The general prescription eyewear and readers, what I'll call regular glasses, worn for vision correction, provide little to no performative protections against these hazards and can cause more severe damage to the eyes in some instances. Here's why. The lenses and general constructions of regular glasses, when struck, can shatter into small pieces that become dislodged from the frames, forcing not only the original object, but the glass itself into the eyeball. Let's face it, glasses are a fashion accessory. Sure, prescription glasses correct vision problems, but when choosing frames and overall design of glasses, this is a highly individualized choice, and most of us go for looks over function.
Oh man, they look nice. I had a pair just like them.
Well, after the game, I'm gonna pick out a pair that's more me.
Good luck.
They look good. Besides, seeing's the most important thing, son. I don't think it's that important.
This means that what we're wearing probably won't adequately protect the eyes from splash or nuisance dust. Without wraparound protection above and below the eyes, there's a good chance that a splash of chemical or dust will still get into the eyes. This is the type of safety glasses that most everyone seems to be able to get behind. Who doesn't love a good pair of sunglasses, right? Especially when you work outside for any period in the sun. This is not the only use case, though, for radiation protection. UV light is used in a variety of ways in industry, and UVB in particular can cause significant issues over both short and long-term exposures, and there's a specific class of safety glasses for those cases. I won't even get into safety eyewear for heavy environments like caustic chemical production, welding, hazardous materials cleanup, or biohazardous environments. This video isn't an ad for all the different types and combinations of safety glasses. My point is to demonstrate that eyewear isn't just for correcting vision, and we have no issues wearing some types of protective eyewear. Probably none of us have a problem with voluntarily and happily putting on a stylish pair of shades. So why then can it be so hard to get us to wear safety glasses? Simply, they just don't look cool. But imagine your life without vision. No more TV, no more gaming, no more watching the seasons change, no more watching your kids grow up. Whether or not it's a requirement where you work, be aware that some of the hazards that can affect your vision may not be all that evident or common, but they exist. Many workplaces require some measure of eye protection, but it would be a good bet that not a single one would ban it. No matter what eye protection that's required or that you choose to use, emergency eye wash stations are still imperative in areas where foreign matter may still enter the eye. Their requirements, best practices, and the regulations that govern them warrants a dedicated video, but I'll make a few points before we wrap up this video. There is no substitute for plumbed eye wash stations. Bottle stations, portable stations, and others that are on the market seem like a good option, but they're not approved by regulatory agencies for a lot of very good reasons. Simply stated, an emergency eye wash station must be supplied with a constant supply of clean, fresh, tepid water. Even plumb stations need to be regularly inspected and maintained, so imagine what that bottle station's water would be like to spray into your eyes after it's been on the wall for a few years.
Definitely an OSHA violation, that's for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Everybody's getting sued.
Again, I'll go over these requirements in an upcoming video, but keep your eyes out for these items in your workplace and where adequate eye wash stations are located in your facility. Eye protection exists to help you keep your vision clear, but they are your eyes. Let them show you a clear and vibrant view of the world around you as long as they can. Thank you for watching, and remember to hit that like button if you like the video, or if you don't like the video, hit that dislike button and let me know why in the comments. It really does help. Subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell to stay updated on new videos and topics as they're published.